Hello everyone. So today I want to share something new that I'm working on. It's this new sci-fi scene with a spaceship that's parked in the middle of a launch facility. And as per usual, it's being made in Blender. It's being lit, being rendered, composed in Blender. But I want to share with you something new in terms of the approach that I'm using for the spaceship itself. So I'm using this tool called Plasticity. It's, I think, a rather new tool, and it's usually used for people in industrial design, designing things that basically are going to be made in real life, pretty much kind of like a CAD application. There's something very similar to this called Fusion, which is a lot more complicated. But the thing with Plasticity is that it's a lot more user-friendly, a lot more artist-friendly, and the UI isn't so overwhelming, and it's rather easy to pick up compared to the more complicated applications out there. So I kind of want to show you a little bit of the workflow and how it differs from something like Blender or Maya or any of those traditional polygon modeling techniques. So this app has a lot of different tools, different techniques that you can use to achieve what you need. But I kind of want to go over just sort of the general workflow that I think this application is really strong at. And that is pretty much drawing curves and then extracting out faces from that, and then turning that into the model that you're aiming for. So I'm going to start a new scene. Okay, and one thing that's worth mentioning too, if you're a Blender user, is that it's got its you can set the hotkeys to your Blender hotkeys, so that at least it's really familiar, and if you're switching back and forth, the context switching isn't so bad. Where is it? So navigation. So over here, if you're a Maya user, you can use that. If you're a Blender user like myself, I'm using the Blender hotkeys, so that most of the viewport controls are going to be quite familiar to me, which is super helpful. Okay, so just without going too deep into details, I'm gonna just go over the gist of what I've been doing using this tool. I'm gonna delete this cube. Okay, I like to switch to the perspective camera. And then over here we have the grid control. So if I just toggle through the settings here, you can set the grid size, and then I like to snap to it just to kind of be precise, right? So we'll keep it at 1 for now, and then I'm just going to create a couple circles and kind of show you like the typical workflow basics. And so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make it so that I'm in a specific view, just like that, for position. And then I'm going to create a center circle, and that's going to snap right to the grid points. Right. So that is a curve. And then if I go back to perspective view, we have a circle. And now I'm just going to duplicate this, Shift D if you are a Blender user. And then now we have these two circles, right? And now what I want to do is, if I'm happy with these curves, and again, like, this is super basic, but you can also draw like more complicated stuff, like, you know, more organic, something with a lot more interesting features to it. But let's just say we're happy with these circles. I'm going to be selecting them. And then if I bring up the tool search here, I'm just going to go to Loft, right? And what that will do is create this this sheet here. It's called a sheet. And then now, if I want to add something else to the outside of it, for example, like again, the way I created these protruding cylinders outside is I just simply duplicated the curve. Again, let's go back to and then scale it down, duplicate that again, and then snap it to the other circle. And then let's see if this works. I want to get rid of this interior circle here. And then I'm going to trim it. Right? And now I'll do the same thing for this one. There is a trim tool here. And now we have this clean kind of circle that touches the main one here. And then now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be selecting these two. And then again, I'm going to bring up the toolbar. And then go back to Loft. And then now we have this sheet here, right? Okay. Okay, so now say I want to, let's see. Say I'm happy with this and I want to turn this into a solid, right? I'm going to bring up the toolbar again and I'm going to select thicken. And what that will do is give me this control point. Try that again. I think it's not letting me because the grid is too big. Let's try a smaller grid. Yeah. Okay, so now it's a solid. So if you didn't notice, it used to be a sheet, right? And then when I thickened it, it turned into a solid. So there's kind of like, from what I understand, there's three different kind of states of being, I guess, in plasticity. There's the curves where you draw the lines. It doesn't exist in like solid form yet. And then you can turn that into a sheet, which is like this very paper thin thing. And then once you thicken it, it becomes into the solid, right? So that's, from what I understand, is the way objects work in plasticity. Okay, so now we have this thing here, and now we have, I want to turn this into a solid as well. Okay, so do the same thing, thicken. And now we have that. Okay. And now say I'm happy with this. I want to then mirror this to the other side, right? I want to say I want like 3 of these or something like that. So I'm going to select this piece here and then bring up the toolbar again, and then there is a radial array here. And now what I want to do is like go back to the this view, and then I'm going to select the center region because that's sort of the pivot point that I want to use, and select that. And now over here we have like the number, right, of repetitions that we want. Then I hit right click and that will execute the action, and now we have this. Okay. And so now let's say I want to join all of these three together. I'm going to select all the pieces, and I'm going to hit Q, and that's the hotkey for Booleaning. And then we have the different options here, right? So if you're a Blender user, you should be familiar with this. And I want to join them together, so I'm going to use union. Hit right click, and now we have the pieces that are joined together. Okay, and as you can see, like the curves, the circles that I had drawn out are still there. In Plasticity, it's, from what I understand, it's typically a good idea to keep these because it seems like the ideal workflow is that you go back and forth curves into sheets, into solids, like over and over again, and then you kind of work through a model that way, right? So it's always a good idea to preserve the sheets, or sorry, the curves that you had drawn out, because at some point you probably will want to iterate and go back to those and kind of rebuild your solids again from that, right? But for now, I'm going to hide them. There is this sunshine icon here. I'm going to hide it. And then what I want to do is I want to do some chamfering. So where these edges meet, I want to soften them up and create some nice satisfying bevels to them. Okay. And now we have these control points. Now if I drag to the left, it creates like a nice soft chamfer, but it can also create a more harder bevels if I want, just like that, right? So it depends on the look that you're going for. But for this one, let's go with the softer one. Hit right click to execute. Just hide the see-through, the X-ray. And then now, yeah, so we have this very clean looking model, right? All of the chamfering, the booleaning are done quite cleanly. I don't have to worry about topology so much as I would in an application like Maya or Blender in a traditional poly modeling. But in something like this CAD workflow, I can just really worry about the design and not worry so much about the way it's constructed, if that makes sense. And what's cool about this is, say that I'm happy with this model, I want to bring it back to Blender so that I can use it for my scene and light it and render it and all that kind of stuff. Plasticity has a pretty good export tool. So if I just go here, hit export, let's just so it's got like different options. I use OBJ. I'm not sure if it has FBX. That would be cool if it did, but I'm not sure. But OBJ does a decent job anyway. Hit save, and then this menu pop-up comes up. Then You have these options if you want to export to tris, quads, and as you can see, it's quite clean, right? Like it's definitely breaks it down into polygons in a quite clean manner. So you know, it definitely works for my purposes. I'm not going to be animating or deforming all of this kind of stuff. So a straight out export just like this is something that I'm not going to be doing any additional cleanup to, right? There's different other settings here, right, that you can play with, and just hit OK, and then that will export out as an OBJ, and then again, you can bring it back to Blender to easily import it into your scene, and you can take it from there. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to show you the new approach that I'm taking for the hard surface modeling for the ship here. Still really heavily work in progress, still iterating quite a lot, but yeah, I just wanted to show you the new tool that I'm working with, and yeah, stay tuned for the next steps. I'm going to end the video right there, and catch you next time.